Oxford English Dictionary defines the term fan as a devotee of a particular activity or performer. Since the term's appearance in the late 1600s, fan has been used to describe everything from religious zealots to baseball spectators to devoted lovers of film and music.
Crazy fangirls have lost touch with reality.
I think it's really just a passion for something, and that something is becoming incredibly more broad. And it's also looking at the communities and the ways in which it changes our interaction with others. And so, it's kind of building a family around these interests that we have. And, you can be a fan and you can consider yourself a fan of a show you've watched once, or it could be something that sort of defines your whole lifestyle. You can have your whole house decorated in Doctor Who, or you can be someone who watched one episode or who just likes the aesthetics of it. It really is very equitable.
They are heart and soul of the pandemonium. I'll go back to the Beatles and the movie A Hard Day's Night, which was the first time people really saw a band running away and girls running screaming down the street for them. From that point on in 1964, people began to think that was acceptable behavior because they'd see it happen, everybody smiled and laughed afterwards, and everybody lived happily ever after.
They have internalized the object of their fandom as something that really communicates with them on an emotional level. But it's really about the amount of time they spend thinking about the thing that they're interested in and how it affects and enhances their life. So that's really the Uber fan, is the person who's living the fan lifestyle.
Right. I fangirl the most over either One Direction or 5 Seconds of Summer. I heard What Makes You Beautiful just on the radio when it first came out, and then of course I did the whole watch all their X Factor interviews and listen to their whole first albums. That was a stereotypical radio situation. And then 5 Seconds of Summer ended up touring with them, so I was ooh, Australians, I'll listen to them.
Radio was really the tastemaker for that. We put it on the radio, we've decided this is the song. This is, the artist. You guys need to really like these guys. And people lined up and they liked those.
In the last decade, the now widespread use of the internet and social media has greatly changed not only how fans interact with the objects of their fandom, but also how they participate in the fandom culture.
The diametric change in social media happened with One Direction, but all of a sudden, the station's Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, I start getting all this stuff about One Direction. I'm like, what is 1D? And then we even reached out to the record company, found out Columbia had it, and they're like, we're still a month away from having a record that we released. So it wasn't, this was a natural, organic reaction that was coming from fangirls that, started this wave. And so when they finally came with the first One Direction single, it was just this overwhelming, situation that happened where actually the decision about what people are going to like or not like has shifted from the tastemakers to the fangirls.
It's definitely made it easier to find your group of fans. It's definitely made it easier to create community and for fans to be very participatory in the sense that no matter where you are geographically, you can feel very close to other fans and you can engage in your own fandom or creating fan works, either fan fiction or the ability for trends in fandom to, take off and take hold.
But there's also the anonymity of social media. If you're One Direction #1 fan, 165832879, because there's already that many #1 fans. It creates that sense that I can say anything, I can do anything, and nothing will ever happen to me. I think it would be a good thing for people to begin to lose anonymity through their social media, so that when you post something threatening, it's just like you're threatening somebody in real life.
It's really hard because there's Twitter and Instagram, Snapchat, Vine. The 5 Seconds of Summer was really into Keeks. Yeah, mostly just Twitter to kind of keep up with what they're doing. I follow a lot of people that are fans of groups that I like, so I can really hear what they're doing through other people talking about what they're doing.
And now there's that sense of entitlement, a sense of like I know him. It's kind of shifted from I love this artist and I'll do anything for them to this artist better do something for me. Where it's also interesting is it also breaks down some of the walls for the fandom and the artist.
They try to be funny and they're not like comedic, but they're just like ironically funny because they're like just huge dorks. So I've been to a lot of shows. Like I've been to probably 15, 16 of their shows, and like I've been to meet and greets, I've like played on stage with them, like I've been around them a lot.
I love you too.
Well, it can be something that's connected to, or even in some cases maybe a substitute for emotional connections with other family. You know, it's building family, it's the strength of ties between fans, and it's just how you feel when you're engaging in your fandom.
But, you know, a few years back, whether it was One Direction or Taylor Swift or whatever, you were getting death threats if you said anything even remotely negative towards, or the fan base perceived you did something negative. You know, there was a point where, you know, it was happening inside the station here where, you know, the Burt Show was getting, honest to God, death threats, you know, from the One Direction people.
Unfortunately, there's been some instances of fan bullying, and especially online, and this happens quite frequently to women, where they're being asked to prove their fandom. I know women have always been fans of sci-fi. I think they're just now, because of the internet, because of social media, because it's cool to be a fan now, it's cool to be a geek. I think they're just more visible, you know, and I think that they're showing where they've always been.
Before the internet, every month, you know, you'd have to open Rolling Stone, and hopefully in the back of there they would list your favorite band and here's where they're going to be over the next 30 days. Now it's as simple as, you know, www.where'smyband, and, you know, that's where they are right now and where, you know, where they're tracking them. And you can also find out what songs they played last night and what songs they're going to play tomorrow night, and where's the, you know, it's an endless supply of information. It's kind of like a relationship. There should always be some mystery there, always a little bit of, you know, you don't know everything, and fangirls don't accept that. The importance of being the number one fan that's dangerous.
It's like almost an all-day thing, because like all my friends were fans of them. I had their tweet notifications on. I would listen to their music. I'd like read articles about them when I got home. I have a lot of friends that are like really ingrained in the whole like meeting celebrities thing. Someone will text me and be like, so Josh Hutcherson is flying in tonight, you want to come? And I'm like, why not? Some people that are on sets a lot to meet like movie stars meet paparazzi, and then the paparazzi like becomes friends with them, and then I'll like kind of on the DL be like, Childish Gambino's flying in today, or like somebody like that. I haven't met Childish yet. If you follow their car from like the airport to the stadium, whatever, you can figure out like what hotel they're going to.
And I think that's the hardest thing. The people that have lost touch with the reality don't realize they've lost touch with the reality. That's the dark side of what fandom and all of this creates.
The recent advances in social media have given fans seemingly unlimited access to not only the objects of their fandom, but also brands and companies. Social media has opened up new channels of instant two-way communication between brands and their customers. This shift in social media has created what public relations professionals now call brand fans.
We're really looking at the way that audiences are hyperactive and more active and engaged as well. Again, we come at it from a two-way communication perspective, but before the internet, we had very few ways of having real two-way communication where we got as much feedback from our publics as the information we communicated to them. So just in looking at the ways that fans are now interacting with brands and organizations in the same way they do as the media properties and celebrities and things like that they're interested in. So you could have someone who's really excited about Disney, and then they apply that to their favorite cars, and they expect to have a relationship. They have access to brands on Twitter and in other areas of social media, and so they expect to have this fulfilling relationship with a brand, and a lot of brands are just not prepared for that. I'm just so excited that there's more acceptance of fans, and I'm hoping that more brands treat fans in a very human and respectful and ethical way, and that's what I'm hoping the future for fandom is. But I really just see this fan engagement happening across the board, more and more people applying their passionate fan behavior, or fanish behavior as we call it, to brands and other activities and everything. I think it just makes everybody more excited about life.